Starting five, October 10th, when we're recording this. You're still not smiling. I keep waiting for things to flip and good things to happen to your sports teams. It's not happening.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It truly is. I had a solid weekend. I golfed. I got in touch with my Caucasian side. I grabbed a Stanley Cup. Everyone should have one of these, by the way. Fire. Yes, sir. I like that green one too. It's a cool color. Did some couple things around the house. Actually, I'll be moving my jersey down to my man cave. So did a couple crafts this weekend as well. We got a couple like kind of checkered painting things. I got another one that I can't pick up, but we're gonna hang those up behind me. So, all in all, I feel like I made the most of my 24, however many hours I was allotted per day this weekend. And that's all I can hope for. And I'm alive. So hope you're doing well, Gregory.
What were you going for with that checkered piece? What is that? Can we get a little behind the scenes with the paint?
Well, I can't do it because I have a checkered carpet in this room. So the checkered carpet, it's kind of a checkered theme going on in here. And when you stare at all three of them next to each other, it gives like some weird optical illusion artistic shit that I kind of like.
You a big checkers guy? Is there like a motif there for something here?
No, not a big checkers guy at all. But I do like checkers design.
Checkers or chess?
Chess.
Game for real philosophers, huh?
Yeah, and a game for like actual grown-ass men. I don't think you should be over the age of 20 playing checkers.
So does it say something that you've made your entire room built around a checkers motif?
Yeah, I'm trying to tap into like my young self when I was happy.
Your inner child back before tragedy overcame the Elliot household. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Well, let's get into the biggest news of the week, which there was no way we were ever going to lead with anything but this in the week that was. Jordan Poole and Draymond Green got into an altercation. I think that's the appropriate word. I wouldn't call it a fight. I would call it an altercation. And my main take from this is that this is the most on-brand thing for both of these two individuals, Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. The more that comes out about it, though, the funnier it is, looking back on it for me. What's your main takeaway from this? Because this isn't the best look for your guy, Draymond. But at the same time, I feel like you guys are pretty happy with the fact that he slept the Michigan player.
Yeah, I just feel like it would have been the last straw if, let's say, Jordan Poole slept Draymond Green. We would have been finished for good. That would have been over. That would have been the end of it. To me, I'm more so with you in this camp, Greg. It's hilarious, like all these things that are coming out afterwards about Poole, being a dickhead, and like everything just like kind of fits the narrative of what we already knew Jordan Poole was. Like, this kid is a dickhead. That's what makes him good. Like, the fact that he plays like a dickhead is what makes him good. And two, the more serious takeaway I want to take from this is that if I'm in that position, we're not getting past that. Like, you slept me. You slept me. We're not moving on. That's not like I've been in fights and practices, in a basketball practice before. Like, there's fights when like you're hooping and like shit gets going and like you get into a scrap. But like that situation was just different. That you don't move on from that. And also, there is absolutely nothing Jordan Poole can do in his career now where they won't go back to that. Like, in 20 years, we could talk about Jordan Poole passing the scoring record, and you'll see like me in the corner, like old and wrinkly, and be like, yeah, but that one time, like Draymond slept him. Like, they're always going to come back to that moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong with that, but I think that Michigan State fans would be the ones who are more sticking to that as if that's like a true fact. Like, we're only 72 hours removed from this happening, and we already have a crazy Jordan Poole highlight that you sent me that was like, oh my God, with Kevin Durant tweeting about it. Like, this kid's gonna be fine. It's not.
Yeah, oh no. I mean, he's elite. Like, I mean, I'm not elite. I don't want to say elite. I'm sorry about that. Don't let me say elite.
Yeah, but to say his legacy,
he has very good handles. He needs to work on the other part of his hands.
to say his legacy will just be, oh, you got slept by Draymond, is like we're already removed from this, and he's
no. I'm not saying this is legacy. I'm saying it's like a trump card. Like, you.
For you,
that's something that's something like I'll always have in my back pocket. That's like, if I don't even know what the situation. If someone like got with your mom or something. Like, they'll always have that over your head. You could say anything. You'd be like, damn, I just busted your ass and gave you a triple-double. That guy could always follow up with the ace in the back of the pocket. Like, yeah, I hit your mom. Like, that type of stuff it's a trump card for me, basically. Maybe not for you. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. How would you compare this incident to the Juwan Howard slap incident? Couple different incidents with hands, maybe perceived a little differently from people in the state of Michigan, depending on who they root for. How do you compare these two?
I'm completely different situations to me. I don't think they're in the same. I think that in Jawan's situation, like, that situation shouldn't have happened. Could have been avoided.
But Draymond's should have.
No. More so like where the stage it was on. Like, you're in the handshake line of a college basketball game, and you're the head coach of the team. It's a little different, like in a practice setting, training camp, two players fighting or getting an argument. Also, Draymond is not like an angel in this situation. Like, you shouldn't sleep your teammates. I get it. I mean, he shoved them, but like, I just don't know if you should sleep your teammates.
Yeah, you're right. It is very different. If you're a head coach, you should never put hands on a player or coach or anything. Whatever Juwan Howard did, you heard my takes on that when it happened. But I don't think like I feel like in general with this Draymond thing, we're all kind of just like laughing it off, which I am straight up. I think this is like funny and it's on brand for both of them. It is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. What it is a big deal for is like Draymond's future, in my opinion. And like, I personally couldn't care less about Draymond's future. I am a Warriors fan though in the postseason, so I guess that matters to me. You've heard this. It's a joke. I was a bandwagon Warrior this past year. But like, Draymond, I think, screwed himself pretty harshly here. Like, I think the Warriors already didn't really want to re-sign him. They were readying themselves to make a decision on if they had to pay him all that money or not. And there's a lot that goes into that, because when a guy's got you 4 rings and been a massive part of those teams, like, you kind of owe it to him. Like, I think they were going to end up biting the bullet and paying him. Now they have such an easy out to just not pay him. I don't think any other team in the league would really want Draymond in anywhere similar of a role or a pay possibility the way the Warriors would have. So, like, I just think the most harmful piece of this, we can joke about, oh, it's going to hang over Poole's head forever. No matter what he does, he got slapped. Like, the bigger thing for me here is like Draymond's career is probably, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel after this incident. Whereas if this incident didn't happen, who knows? He probably gets the money and he probably does 5 more years in Golden State. Now it's like, ugh, I don't know. It also seems to be that everybody's kind of jumping on Poole's side of this. Like, if you listen to the Warriors players and Steve Kerr's press conferences, it seems like they're putting a pretty harsh wall up between Draymond.
I mean, they don't have a choice. One guy got shoved and one guy got slept.
Yeah, but like, you know, somebody wrote a good piece like Draymond's supposed to be the protector of the team. And I think Draymond's done a really good job of that role in his career. But it's odd to me. Like, Iguodala came out and kind of defended both publicly right away. I thought I'd see more of that. Like, I thought I'd see more people kind of not picking a side. Whereas I think everybody but Iggy has essentially been like, yeah, it's not cool. Like, we're here with JP, which surprised me because, again, JP doesn't have the best history of being like a beloved teammate. I think he's an awesome, like, people think he's a funny teammate, but like, he had issues in Michigan. There was friction between him and Xavier Simpson. He's definitely like a prima donna a little bit. He's my favorite player ever. So I say all that with that said, but like I said, this is on brand. Jordan Poole's like a prep school, suburban Wisconsin kid who talks a lot of shit. And if you swing at him, you're going to get slapped. Like, Draymond's as tough can be, but is also incredibly stupid a lot of times. Like, Draymond may have just mortgaged the end of his career to punch a teammate.
But this was also a fire, like, little fold into the Draymond career. Like, when the Draymond, video, movie comes out or whatever, because it probably is, knowing Draymond with, his podcasting and his media thing, it's going to be a little fire chapter. Once we get like the backdrop stories and everything like that, it'll be fun. But all in all, to wrap up this situation, it's just hilarious to me. It's hilarious, the actual situation. It's hilarious the think pieces that people are dropping based on the situation. As I laugh at the whole video. So I don't know. It was good entertainment on a Monday, I'll tell you that. Or no, it was a Friday, actually, wasn't it?
It was a Friday.
Yeah, it was a Friday.
I stand with JP. Just want to make that very clear. Rooting for you, kid. Hope you bounce back from this. I think you already did, but not a great look. All right. Midnight Madness, Michigan State. Maybe the future program, Draymond will take over. Would you hire a guy who has a history of, assault related incidents at this point to run your program?
I would put my faith into the Michigan State athletics department that they would do the proper research and the proper steps in the hiring process to make sure that a individual is hired with a high standard and high morals.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, on the scale of assault charges, this is a relatively minor one for Michigan State basketball program. So, anyways, Midnight Madness happened. That's a thing that happened. Tom Izzo did not come out in costume this year for, I believe, the first time in like 20 years. I don't know what that means. Interesting.
I think it's a little time to look into that. Maybe his final outfit change of his career, his final scene, perhaps. No outfit change needed. Think piece dropping the newsletter this Friday. Make sure you subscribe to Sleepers Bets. But
I like that.
No takeaways. Midnight Madness, to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna the only takeaway I will say that did make me happy is that Malik Hall was actually playing and out of that boot. Because I'll be honest with you, I had no clue like what kind of like severity a broken toe can do to you. Because I guess in some circles, like a broken toe could just be like a jam toe, technically. But I guess there's also severe levels of broken toes, which I was tripping about, as Michigan State was losing by 50 to Ohio State. Things were running through my head. So it's good to know that he's okay. I guess Mady Sissoko actually looked like an actual Division I basketball player. So, who knows what that means. It could be two things. One, Jackson Kohler might be not that good defensively, that he makes Mady Sissoko look okay offensively. But really no main takeaways. As the days get closer to the season, I find myself getting more scared of the buzzsaw that we're going into. And I don't know if that's good or not.
Yeah, I think that's a fair, I guess, just outlook from you. I would probably feel the same if I was in your shoes. It's definitely a buzzsaw. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, we've gone through the schedule and we can continue to go through the schedule. But like, even if this team is fully healthy the entire season, this is a team that's probably losing 13 to 14 games minimum. And at that point, you're on the bubble. It just is what it is with the schedule that Izzo has put together for this group. It's insanity. It will, I think, like in a weird way, it'll make for a fun season to watch, because if you guys can get yourselves to the point of like, we have nothing to lose, then who cares? Your team's playing a really entertaining game every single week. It might be frustrating if you lose a couple of those in a row, but God forbid if they win one, like Cam Whitmore is going to be out for Villanova. That just happened. Maybe that's a big swing. You win that Villanova game, all of a sudden the beginning of the season feels a lot different.
How long is he out for?
I think he's out for like a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're without Cam Whitmore.
Okay.
But anyways, back to Midnight Madness. The biggest thing from my side of this would be, don't believe the Sissoko stuff, which every report that I heard from anybody
I'm not
there, I know, but just for others, like everybody that was there basically said the takeaway was Mady looks very solid. That scares me more. Like, no offense to Mady, but if Mady is looking like a presence, that says more about the guys he's competing with at the position than it does anything else. We're going to see what this center spot is immediately when they have to face Oscar Tshiebwe and Drew Timme back to back. And look, the nice thing is it can't get worse than whatever happens in those two games, right? Like, I mean, those are the best two centers in the country. So no matter what happens, if both those guys go for 40, okay, you know what you've got, and it's never going to get worse than that. But yeah, I don't know. This team's going to have to drive through the backcourt. We didn't hear much about the backcourt in Midnight Madness. Not necessarily that I expected to, but I find it interesting. Like, the only buzz was, well, Mady looks pretty good. That's a terrifying
Well,
prospect.
I feel like the buzz would have been in the backcourt if Jaden Akins was actually out there.
Yeah, do you think he's gonna play at the start of the season?
Um, I think that if he does, then it'll be in a very limited role. But honestly, I'm tempted not to even like push it to, you know, like if it's between like play him and don't play him because like he's not fully recovered. I literally rather him just get to 100% because we are going to need him at some point this year. And like to be honest with you, like he will help keep us in those games to start the year. I don't necessarily like those games are losses to me. Like if we're just keeping it a buck, those games are going to be losses. If they're not losses, then something wild is happening or transpiring. So I'm not like in a rush to get Jaden Akins back. Like this is a game that's going to like decide the tournament or not. So obviously he would increase our chances of winning, but the chances are still extremely small with Jaden Akins on the team. So I'd rather him be healthy. And stress fractures and foot injuries scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Foot injuries more so than stress fracture injuries scare me. So
yeah, it's a scary
don't risk it.
Scary injury for sure. And yeah, if you're gonna go hashtag sim the season, like we keep joking about, why not actually shut it down and sim the season? Like, let's just make sure he's healthy for his junior year. That's what matters. We'll see. All right. Any final words from Michigan State perspective? Not basketball, but we saw the Ohio State game this week. I was there. I was in attendance. Mel Tucker was talking about some math. I don't know if you saw the quote in the post game where he said, "Well, you think 2 equals 4, and then all of a sudden you get in the game 2 + 2 = 5. What are you supposed to do?" This is one of the funniest quotes I've ever seen. What do you make of Mel right now?
I don't know. It's not necessarily with Mel for me. It's the team and the product necessarily, which I mean falls back on him being the head coach. But these are like some embarrassing performances. Like I'm not saying we got to beat Ohio State or anything, but I mean shit, 7 yards rushing. We honestly wouldn't have scored if they didn't give us one touchdown. They called off the dogs in the middle of the third quarter. Ohio State is, I'm trying not to cuss this episode, really, really nasty.
They're really good.
They are really nasty. It is what it is. This is tough. It's tough.
Yeah, this is what it is. All right.
You don't like seeing a football team like this.
No, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Mel's going to be here for multiple more years, no matter what. So hopefully this is not the long-term indication of what his program will look like. We'll see. Kenneth Walker had a 60-yard touchdown yesterday in the NFL, his first of his career.
69 yards.
Well done. Okay, to Illinois. By the way, Big Ten media poll came out this morning. Illinois was the consensus second place team in the poll. Indiana was the consensus winner. Michigan was third. Michigan State was fourth, as voted by the media, which absolutely shocks me. But we can get to that later. For now, we want to talk about Illinois' new commit. Dra Gibbs-Lawhorn has committed to the Illini. He was a Purdue commit, and then it seemed like for a moment he was flirting with Michigan State because he's Jeremy Fear's teammate, correct?
AAU teammate.
Yeah, so shooting guard type. I like his game from what I've seen. Matt Painter needed a guard. It seemed like that recruitment went south because Gibbs-Lawhorn wanted to visit a couple other schools while committed to Purdue. Matt Painter said, hell no. Gibbs said, okay, I'm out. And then, yeah, he was at a Michigan State practice like 2 days after he decommitted. I don't know that Michigan State ever offered him. So I don't know what that was about that he was at the practice. But he ends up at Illinois, which is another string of good news for Illinois. And I would say good commits for Illinois. How do you feel about Gibbs-Lawhorn in Illinois?
I think it's a good pickup. I really like Gibbs-Lawhorn as a player. I was actually pretty scared. I was pretty scared that he was going to Purdue because he was gonna. And then once he decommitted, I was like, oh, like maybe he'll go because he took a visit to Memphis I know he's got pretty good ties. I guess he has a pretty good relationship with Penny. So I was like, okay, yeah, go ahead and go to Memphis. He'll be a really good college player. I'm not saying he's like a NBA prospect or anything, but I think he'll turn himself into, or has the potential to be, like an all Big Ten type player. He's an undersized guard, but I think he's really gritty. He can score the ball really well. It's a really good pickup for Illinois, and I'm kind of looking into their future a little bit. Let's say Sky Clark has a year. Let's say Sky Clark leaves after 1 year. I think Gibbs-Lawhorn can give you an option at the point guard. And if Sky Clark stays, I think also another option at the point guard position. So, once again, shout out to Brad Underwood, just doing what he does, doing what the t-shirt says, and, dominating the recruiting trail. Shout out to him.
Yeah, he's just the scariest man in the Big Ten right now. Let's call it what it is. There's not a lot of scary men in the Big Ten right now. Like no matter how good Indiana is this year, am I scared of Mike Woodson? Never. He's got to show me something. Am I scared of Tom Izzo right now? I'm sorry, Cart. I'm not. Like he barely wants to build a full roster, right? If I was a different team, would I be?
Are you speaking as a Michigan basketball fan?
I'm speaking this as a fan of anyone that's not Michigan State or anyone that's not Indiana when I talk about Woodson.
Okay.
Just in general. I don't mean
because that as a Michigan basketball fan, you should fear Tom Izzo.
I would actually say that Izzo has, he's more dangerous to Michigan than he is other programs right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct. But so going down the line though, right? Like if I was not a Michigan fan, would I be afraid of Juwan Howard? No, I don't think I would be at all. I think like his teams have kind of underachieved and on the recruiting trail maybe, but right now I think he's like a pros guy who's going to go back to the pros at some point. Brad's the only guy in the conference I'm terrified of. Like Fran McCaffrey, Greg Gard, Matt Painter, if he couldn't do it with last year's team, no thank you. Like Brad is scary in all facets on the recruiting trail, on the court, until you get to the first weekend in March, and then all of a sudden something happens. And maybe that changes. I would bet on it changing for sure, because I think he's just too good of a coach for the trend in March to continue. But yeah, I don't think Sky Clark's going to be a one and done. Back to your point, like the core going forward to me is Clark, Gibbs-Lawhorn, Ty Rodgers a couple years from now, and like whoever's left from Melendez and Goody. That's a squad. It's a really good team. It's a really fun young core, and if he keeps adding via the portal the way he did this year, like you can plug and play 1 to 2 guys in with that core, and that team's going to be at the top of the Big Ten for the next 2-3 years. So Good job, Brad. I'm so jealous, man. Why? Like you and I are just in a state of misery in general with everything in sports. And then like, oh, Illinois check in, great things are happening still.
It really had me thinking. I brought this up in a car conversation the other day. How come we don't just like take a year by year like contracts like of who we're gonna support?
I would love to opt out. I would love to hold out right now for being
like why am I putting myself through this? Why don't I just be an Alabama football fan or a Georgia football fan this year?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why you do that. We can figure it out. We'll figure it out. Let's move to our teams, 2 of our teams that we're devastated with right now. One's the Pistons. I am all excited for this Pistons season. You and I have texted a ton about it. Like I'm watching the preseason games with like taking notes. I'm more into this than I've been in years, right? I think they're actually going to be okay this year. That was my main reason why. Like I think they're too good to truly tank. And I liked a lot of the moves they made in the offseason. Well, Cart, we're 2 preseason games into the season, and I hate absolutely everything that I've seen. It starts with Cade Cunningham. He looks incredibly out of shape to me. The whole model for this rebuild has been like, Cade needs to be our Luka. And even after the way he ended year 1, there was a lot of like, he's kind of Luka. He's Luka 2.0. There is no comparison now, and there never will be, between Cade Cunningham and Luka Doncic. That's so disrespectful to Luka. Luka creates 98% of his team's points, and even in preseason games, he's going for like 32 and 12. Cade's coming off back-to-back like single-digit scoring games, essentially, where he looks slow as hell. All he can do is try to post up smaller guards, and even then it leads to turnovers. He's not guarding defensively right now. I think he put on 20 pounds of bad weight in the offseason. And I don't trust Cade Cunningham, and that's the main concern before I even get to my other concerns, like how Jaden Ivey was 2 for 10 with 7 turnovers. So let's start with just Cade, and then do sort of a state of the Pistons quickly. Do you agree with my concerns on Cade Cunningham?
No, I don't. I agree with your concerns because I'm not saying you're wrong because I watched the two, or I watched one of the preseason games. To be honest with you, I saw highlights of the other one, and based off what I saw in those two games, everything you said is correct. But I don't envision that being the story of the whole season moving forward, and I don't think it's disappointing that he's out of shape because I think he is out of shape too. But it's not the end of the world. It's just more so disappointing that he is coming into the season in his second year, and he is the face of our franchise, and the face of our franchise is out of shape. That's just bad optics. It's not good looks. And in the first 2 preseason games, he looked more like Kyle Anderson than vegan Luka Doncic. So it hurts. It does hurt a little bit. I want more Jalen Duren minutes to speak to the rest of the team. I need more Jalen Duren minutes. I'm also putting out a alarm on Saddiq Bey. There's an alarm out, and I might be leading the Isaiah Livers is better than Saddiq Bey train soon.
Wow.
That agenda is firing up as we speak.
Can I say something quick on that? If Saddiq Bey was forced to only take the shots Isaiah Livers takes, Saddiq Bey is way better than Isaiah Livers.
Very true. Does Saddiq Bey have some Dylan Brooks in him?
Yes, the staff and Saddiq Bey like want him to be the secondary creator, and honestly, I think the staff is giving him more opportunities than they are Cade right now. Either that or just Cade doesn't want them and is being lazy. Like it's a mess. If Saddiq Bey was just an off-ball guy, he's really good, but every time they try to let him do more, he dribbles off his foot, and we're horrible right now. Like the build of this core makes no sense right now. Ivy, I don't know where Ivy fits into this. Like you have Cade and Saddiq not knowing who's supposed to have the ball. Jaden Ivey gets pissy when he doesn't have the ball. We've seen that before. So like I'm terrified. I'm terrified.
Ivy did look good in that Knicks game.
He looks so the thing with Ivy, he is explosive as hell. He's really fun. I tweeted it. Like it's just fun to have someone that fast and athletic on your team. Like he pops compared to anybody, let alone our team, because if Cade's our superstar, Cade's one of the slowest superstars in NBA history. So like it's just nice to have that change of pace, right? The problem is that my scout on Jaden Ivey was accurate. It's going to be accurate. He can only go right. He's very turnover prone, and he's pouty as hell. And like if go through every minute, every time he's had the ball in these 2 games, all he does is the change of pace thing to get back to his right hand and get a layup or shoot a 3. And will he develop counters? I think he can. I would love if he does. He's young. He definitely is capable of that. But right now, all he has is getting to the right hand. And in game 2, the team realized that. The Pelicans took that away. He went 2 for 10 and had 7 turnovers, including 2 dribbling off his foots in the final minute when they tried to clear out for him. So I just don't know. Like nothing. I just want one of these guys to like, we could point to them and be like, oh, that dude made strides. That dude had an off season. That was supposed to be Cade Cunningham. It's clearly not.
What about B. Stu?
Stu's just too small, man. He plays so damn hard, but like, yeah, give me more Duren. I'm just
also hate Dwayne Casey.
I like Casey. I don't blame Casey for any of this, actually.
I don't like Dwayne Casey at all.
I think it's a win for sleeper scouts, though, because Keegan Murray looks fantastic. Jabari Smith was a killer in game 1. Paolo had a really poor first game. That's a win for you. Right now, my Ivy scout is rock solid. Sleeper scout department is in a good spot right now. Sadly.
Hey, there's a couple hee-hees and ha-has. Go check the film. It's still up on our YouTube channel.
All right, we got 2 minutes left. Quickly, Lions, Dan Campbell.
Hate them. Hate them. Hate Dan Campbell. Hate the team. We got
Weight Watchers, Matt Patricia.
Dan Campbell is such a phony. I'm cussing. He's a phony fuck. I'm sorry, Connie and Dave. but I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of everything with the Lions. It's like I know we got to wrap up soon, but I was really watching it with my dad the other day. You know how me and my dad are about Lions games and Lions fans in general. They broke Luther. He was sitting back there thinking about how he's going to sell his season tickets. They broke this man. This man's had season tickets since the Silverdome.
That hurts.
They broke him.
I
saw my own father broken.
Yeah, no man ever wants to see that. Shout out Luther. I'm rooting for you. I hope you get better. But yeah, look, I mean, Dan is just, I've been saying, he plays in a fairy tale land. He thinks he's the protagonist. He thinks whatever decision he makes will just work out in the end. 0 for 6 on 4th downs yesterday. You would think that the coach who wants to lead the league in 4th down attempts would have some creative play calls on 4th down instead of just a draw play to our 4th string running back on 4th and 4. Like, this man, he makes no sense. He's just like a football guy, tough, grunty voice, but his decision making is horrible. He's directly attributable for 3 of the 4 losses this season, and it's snowballing. And culture means nothing to me if this is the product on the field.
He needs to go get a 9 to 5 or be like a TikTok influencer or something, like where he's like the Liver King, just wakes up in the morning, like, get up, eat kneecaps, go get, and this is the shoulder day routine for big growth. Like, and I don't know, go sell like some nutrition pills or some shit. But I'm sick of him coaching my football team.
We could start a GoFundMe for that for sure.
Talking about grit hats. Well, motherfucker, we got zeroed by Bailey Zappi.
Bright side, maybe we get CJ Stroud from one more year of Dan Campbell. Is that the bright side?
I need a quarterback in the worst way.
Do we want CJ Stroud if he's throwing pick sixes to Michigan State though?
That was on the receiver. That was just boredom.
Okay, got it. I'm just curious, like, if Bryce Young made more sense than CJ after CJ let Michigan State find the end zone.
I want Cooper Rush over Jared Goff.
I want Cooper Rush bad. He doesn't lose games. All right, Cart, we got to wrap. This was fun, except it wasn't fun. I hated every second of this. Our teams stink, and I don't want to do this much more. Can we please get one break? Please.
See you, Greg.
Bye.